In this African fairy tale, a magic mirror brings white colonizers to Mozambique, a fitting metaphor for what really brought them and a lesson on power and greed. It's called the magic mirror. A long time ago, before white men were seen in Sena, which it spells Senna, but it's really Sena, modern day Mozambique. A man named Gopani Kufa is out hunting and he comes across this life and death battle between an antelope and a snake. Both stuck. The snake is coiled so tight around the antelope it can't get away, and the antelope has pinned the snake with its horns, so they need help one way or the other. The antelope cries, "Help me, for I was doing no harm, and yet I have been caught and would be eaten had I not defended myself." Ethical reasoning for why he should be saved, but the snake says, "Help me, because I'm king of the reptiles, and I will give you a reward." Gopani Kufa makes the fateful decision to stab the antelope and free the snake. As the antelope is dying, it says, "Yes, he will reward you, but lo, your reward shall be your undoing." But the snake says, "Thanks, man. You go home and I'm going to eat my antelope, and when you come back with the new moon, I'll give you your reward." When Gopani Kufa comes back, the snake is like, "All right, come with me." And he leads him to this hole in the ground. And he says, "All right, hold on to my tail. We're going in the hole." And he's terrified, understandably, but he does. And they go down this hole for days, it says. Most of us with any level of claustrophobia would be losing our minds. But then they get into this underground kingdom, and it's amazing. There's green grass, herds of cattle, sheep and goats. There's tons of people in stone houses with shining roofs of burnished iron. The snake turns into a man wrapped in snakeskin, and he's like, "I have a human form down here, and all the people are human. I am their king in Sato." He shows our dude around, and the people all greet him and are happy to see him, and they bring him cool drinks, and everything is of plenty and peaceful and beautiful. Snake takes him to his palace and gives him this room and maidens to wait upon him, of course. And while he's lying there, he's like, "Man, this is amazing." We're told now that Gopani Kufa has a wasp he carries with him, but it's no ordinary wasp. It is the spirit of his dead father, and it has a name, Zengi Mizi. Our dude asks the wasp dad spirit, "What should I ask for tomorrow?" And he says, "Ask for the mirror, Sipile the mirror." So the next day he asks the snake for this mirror that he hasn't even ever seen. And the snake is like, "Ooh, I really don't want to give that one to you. Let's stay another day and think about it again." And that night he talks to his dad wasp, and he's like, "He really seems like he doesn't want to give me the mirror." And the dad's like, "Trust me, it's the mirror you want." So he asks for 3 days, and finally the snake is like, "All right, here's the mirror." Cries a little giving it to our dude and says that it will be wish granting. It will give him anything he desires. Our dude says, "Great, thanks." And the first thing he does is wish himself back up on the earth so he doesn't have to do the days of travel through a hole again. His wife and daughter greet him because they thought he got eaten by lions. Then that night, his dad wasp is like, "Wouldn't you like to be a great chief like in Sato?" And he's like, "Yeah, I would." And he's like, "Wish for it, dude." So Gopani Kufa basically wishes for a kingdom exactly like the one he saw underground. He is the chieftain. He's got this big palace. He's got all these people who suddenly appear. It's not clear whether all of them were actually there before. They're already right next to the Zambezi River, and it's filled with people and boats, and everyone has enough to eat, and everyone's getting along, and it's peaceful, it's rich, it's beautiful. His wife is so happy about all this, she does not ask any questions about how it happened, but his daughter does. Her name is Shisasa, and he tells her about the mirror. In fact, he decides he's going to give it to her to keep and hide, because if anyone tries to attack him because he's the chieftain, it'll be safe with her. Years pass by and the people live in great prosperity. Our dude is happy, and then white men show up and come up the Zambezi and try to fight him and take his land. He successfully fights them off with the help of the mirror for a long time. But the chief of the white men is clever, and he sends a servant to go to our dude and say, "Hey, I wasn't fighting against you. They have disowned me because I wouldn't fight you because I respect you so much. I want to humble myself before you. You're clearly a great chief. Will you please have mercy on me?" Gopani Kufa believes this story, feasts with the man, gives him a house, and after a while, the man starts to get on the good side of his daughter. Eventually, he gets her to fall in love with him, and she reveals the secret of the mirror. One night while they're sleeping, he steals the mirror from under the pillow and runs off and gives it to his chief. When the army of white men comes at them, our dude yells to his daughter, "Get me the mirror," and she goes and she looks, and it's gone, and she knows what's happened, and she's like, "Dad, I'm so sorry." Gopani Kufa cries, "Oh, spirit of my father, what should I do?" to the wasp. And the wasp says, "There is nothing now that can be done, for the words of the antelope which you slew are now being fulfilled. Your reward will be your undoing. You built up this big, beautiful kingdom in this perfect place that people wanted to come take, and they took it." It ends horribly. The white men come in and slew him and his daughter and his wife, and ever since, all the power of the earth has rested in the hands of white men, for they have in their possession the magic mirror. Now, looking at this in line with history is really interesting. Historically, the reason that white Europeans, particularly the Portuguese, wanted the Zambezi was because it already had valuable Indian trade routes. There was gold inland, like it would have meant they could control a lot of stuff and get rich. Now, like in the story, Europeans tried for a long time to take over Africa, and they were actually unsuccessful for a really long time. They only became successful in the late 1800s because of a variety of factors, like the perfect storm. One is the European invention of the machine gun, plus access to factories and workers who can keep making supplies. Also, the invention of quinine, which helped fight against malaria, because normally white people would come to Africa and just die of malaria, but now they were surviving. So the magic mirror, while not historical, reflects how it felt. Like suddenly overnight, they were able to take what they hadn't been able to take for hundreds of years. It's interesting that in the story, the protagonist sort of brings it on himself by making an evil decision in the beginning. An ethical wrong decision in saving the snake instead of the antelope leads to the ethical, evil, wrong decision of the white men to take over his land. Now, he doesn't trust the mirror to his daughter, who gets seduced and loses it in traditional patriarchal blame the woman origin stories. But it's clear the story itself really doesn't blame her, it blames our protagonist, because that choice, choosing a personal reward over what is morally right, is what is fundamentally wrong with everyone who does evil in the story. And you could argue fundamentally wrong with the evil that is done today, choosing your own personal gain and reward over what is morally right for the world. That is what makes it a tragedy and makes it still a lesson that we need to learn, because humanity clearly still hasn't learned it.